Welcome to Where Passion Meets Purpose. I'm your host, Jen Mentasana. On this show, we help busy moms and entrepreneurs find more passion and purpose in their daily lives through inspiring stories and interviews. Welcome back to Where Passion Meets Purpose, everyone. I am so excited. You guys are in for a real treat today. My very good friend, Beth Bowen, is on the show today. Beth is a self-taught abstract artist. Her installations have been all over the country, all over the world even. She's had paintings hung in the Louvre in Paris, New York City, even Austria. She's an incredible talent, and she's done this all by teaching herself and has been on a truly inspirational journey, stepping into her true passion and purpose. And I can't wait for all of you to hear Beth's story of perseverance and resilience. And hopefully you'll be inspired to step into your passion and purpose as well. So Beth, thank you so much for being here. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, me too. This is amazing. You know how much I just adore you. Your story inspires me. It inspires so many people. Every time we get together in a group of, entrepreneurs or women who are looking to level up their lives, they're always coming and pulling me aside and saying just how much you inspire them, and your grit and your perseverance and your willingness to just put yourself out there is so inspiring. And so I really wanted to have you on to share your story with all of our listeners. I have this painting in the background, and I think you have one
Baby
too.
blue. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine.
Yeah. Is that one that was hanging in the Louvre?
No, that's actually on its way back it was in Austria last. It's on its way back as we speak. So,
Cool. Very cool. Well, that
yeah.
painting in the background is gorgeous. I don't think I've seen that one
Thank you.
before.
I did it for a show in Hermosa, and it just fit really well with the theme I have going here, so I kept it.
Super cool. I love it. And this one is one of your first paintings you did,
Yes,
right?
you came to my very first art show. We'll have to
Yeah.
get into how that happened, but yes,
Yes, we'll
that's it.
we'll go down that road and tell that story too. But I was like, Beth, I have to have this. It's speaking to me. It reminds me of my grandma for some reason. And you said it was called
Oh,
Baby Blue, and there was just
after my
something about it.
grandmother.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
it's found its permanent home right here in my home, and I love it so much. So I can't wait to just share your story of how you got. I mean, so that was what 2000? No, 1990. Sorry,
That's
what year was that?
2018.
2018. Okay, right.
Yes, my
Like
first
back in the
show,
okay.
October 6th, 2018.
I
Yes,
mean, and it feels like it was just yesterday, but that
it's
is the
wild.
math, like 6
6 years.
years ago. Wow.
Hmm.
So you have been on a journey since then, and you have
Yes.
accomplished so much. But before we dive into that, let's kind of take our listeners back a little bit, maybe
Mhm.
even to kind of when you graduated from college and you moved to LA. What was your goal? What was your thought when you moved here, and where you saw your life headed?
Uh, all the glitters is I thought was gold. Hollywood, the entertainment industry. I loved it all. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I definitely wanted to work in entertainment. And then found myself meeting my future ex-husband, where I was married for 13 years. We have 4 kids, and completely got off path from that. Yes, so when I moved to Los Angeles, I thought for sure I'd dive into acting, commercials, anything in the entertainment industry. Um, and I was probably 22, I think, when I met my husband, and we got married a year later. Everything was really, really quick. He had nothing to do with the entertainment industry, and it seemed like that was, I don't know, a good decision to get married so young. It seemed like this fairy tale that um, ended up being anything but. But I do have 4 incredible children from that. Um, and when my mom became sick, uh, she was worried about me. She's like, "What are you gonna do?" I'm like, "I'll figure it out. I don't know." And she's like, "You have these 4 kids," and I think she was trying to basically convince me just to like stick it out, or because I didn't have a career. I didn't have a career. It's scary. 4 kids, and how am I going to take care of these children? Um, and after my mom passed, it was life's too short. It just put everything in perspective. And I filed for divorce, and with the understanding that I could lose everything. And I did.
Yeah.
Um, yes. So it was very humbling. And to start over with nothing and to get on government support, and I I was just in a fog of survival mode, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, and let me
And
just back up for our
mhm,
listeners too, so they understand a little bit of the behind the scenes that you were not just, divorcing your husband. It was, he was someone who had businesses in other countries. There
oh
wasn't
yeah, left the country.
necessarily income
Hmm.
coming for you
Right.
as spousal support. A lot of the things that most people, most women get when they do divorce, you were kind of
Hmm.
on your own as a single mother. And yes,
Right.
he was co-parenting with you, but you were really the one that was the
Hmm.
day-to-day parent, the one that was
Yes.
taking them to school, driving
Yes.
them to school, to soccer
Yes.
practices, to everything. And you had no
Trying to,
income. You had no
no,
source of income whatsoever.
no,
Yeah.
no. So trying to survive, trying to figure it all out. Um, I had an opportunity landed in my lap to join a reality TV show cast. I took it. I assumed this was going to open up doors of something else. It didn't, but I was just looking for anything. I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing. I didn't know. I didn't have this career background because I stopped working and I was raising my children. Um, and actually, the executive producer of the show asked me, like after the show got canceled, she was like, "What are you up to?" And I'm like, not a lot. Doing temp work. I'm doing small odd jobs here and there. But I started painting. I'm watching these YouTube tutorials, and it's so fun. I just love it. I just feel I'm so present when I'm painting, and learning all these different techniques. I mean, you name it. It was like the corniest like how to tutorials, like straight out of like Mr. Rogers. And I was like so interested. I'm like, this is so cool. Like these fluid pours are amazing. And she's like, okay, paint me something. So
Mm,
she left Bravo and went to DC, working at Nat Geo. And she said, my producing partner's father passed away at this time. Do something with these numbers. Send me a painting by the end of the week. And this is someone I really respected and kind of feared. She has that really like strong, like energy that's just like, have it to me by the end of the week. I'm like, okay, okay, what am I going to do? And I did this really cool black and white abstract, and I put newspaper with the numbers, and I framed it and sent it in the mail. And I actually forgot about it because it was like 3 weeks later, she called me out of the blue. She's like, I don't know what you just did, but he's in tears. You're an artist. You need to do art. I'm going to represent you. We're going to put art in galleries. That never happened, but it was that initial belief in me. And
mhm.
I was like, okay, I'm going to do art. And I literally picked a gallery online for 500 bucks that you came to the first art show. I didn't know what my style was. I mean, I don't know if you remember, all the paintings were so different, different
Yeah.
colors, bright, all these different styles. And I just threw it up there.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to price things. I didn't know what to name. I didn't know you had to name them. I knew nothing. I honestly, I was so naive and green to the whole art world and the art scene, but I never thought it wouldn't work out. Like I didn't have it, I didn't even have a vision. I was just like, yep, I'm doing it. And it's interesting when you put yourself out there in your work, it's really um I guess I should say it's humbling.
Mm,
You're so vulnerable because
yes.
it's like having your children on the wall. And people are like, not sure about this one. Oh, I really like this one. Or it's like, oh well, And I was so
It's like
curious
public
of,
judgment, right? Like
yes,
right in
and
that
I'm
moment,
like,
you're putting yourself out there to be judged. And
totally.
and it is such a tough thing. I mean, I can relate in some degree to some of the work that I do, but art is like it's your baby. I mean, you have really been molding it and creating it and having this, relationship with it, and then you put it up on this wall to be judged, right? And
Yes.
have people say, yeah,
And it's not for everyone, and that's fine. Art is subjective, but it's so it was so interesting when I got past that first show, and I was just like, I don't even care. I was so happy that I executed.
yeah,
Like, I found a gallery, I put my pieces up, and I did it. And there was no plan after that, by the way, Jen. There's
yeah,
no plan. But I fully committed. And it's like when you jump, that's when the magic happens. It's like
100%.
you can't dip your toe in. You have to go for it. You have to fully submerge yourself into it.
Yes. And what I love, just gonna back up to something you said before, because it's really key to hone in on the fact, and just even when you were talking about it, when you were explaining to that woman from Bravo about what you loved and what you loved painting, and when you're doing it, you're in it and you're not thinking about anything else.
Right.
That's when you know that's what you're supposed to be doing. And it's in that moment when someone sees it in you you don't even realize it yourself. You're just like, oh, I love doing this. It's so much fun. And someone goes, that's what you should be doing. It's
Yes.
like, it's like the world opens up to you and it doesn't matter what's on the other side. You're going for it. Right.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And it's the interesting um part of this journey was I think my end goal, the biggest goal I could see for myself was to be in Home Goods TJ Maxx. Like, so my mom would come down and bring little trinkets of things that she found, she loved to treasure hunt at Home Goods. And I'm like, that would be so cool if I could just have a print up at Home Goods just to sell. Like, that would be like, I made it. But in the process of finding that connection, I submitted myself to Art Basel, the Louvre, you name. I was at um, Art Monaco, and it was Prince Albert's private gallery showcase. Like, insane stuff that I would never in my wildest dreams. It didn't even cross my radar that this was even possible. And COVID hit right before the Cannes Film Festival, and I had a piece up there, and they said we're going to hold it till after this pandemic passes, assuming it was like going to be like a few months. It was until 2 years later that I actually showed at Cannes, and I booked my hotel, flights, everything. But yeah, that was a tough moment. But there was just this huge momentum. It came out of nowhere, and it's just interesting. It's like it's manifesting, it's being around the right people, asking the right questions, taking opportunity when it presents itself. I mean, I found myself at galleries. I was talking to one person. She's like, oh, you should really contact so and so. So I called. And one person led to another person, led to another person. And that's how I kept having, I had pieces all over the place because I was just cold calling. And someone's like, how'd you get into Home Goods? I'm like, well, I called. I called somebody in New York just to find out that the guy was actually here in
Hmm.
the South Bay,
I
like in
love
our
that story.
backyard.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine had a connection to this guy, and he was like, here's the number. And I said, oh my gosh, I've been looking and searching for the right printing company that distributes just at Home Goods TJ Maxx. And it was just like, it was so
All the
incredible.
things are falling into place, and it's
Yes.
kind of like I call it following the breadcrumbs, because life's breadcrumbs, the universe, whatever you want to call it, hands you these little pieces of nuggets to follow, and you can either pay attention to them or you can dismiss them. And usually when you dismiss them, it's out of fear, or just you're afraid to work hard, right? So anyway, getting back to the breadcrumbs, I just wanted to say that I feel like you really are an example for anyone who is trying to move forward and feels like they don't know how to listen to the universe's signs, like you followed the momentum. It's the
Hmm.
momentum that gets you into the gear to keep going, to moving forward. Move forward where you see momentum, right? And where
Yes,
you feel like you're banging your head against the wall, that's probably not the right path. And it doesn't mean give up. It just means shift and go in a different direction. But the
definitely.
goal is the same, right?
Right. 100%. And so during COVID, when everything came to a standstill, and come to find out, art wasn't something that was essential. So everything was super slow. And I was like, what am I going to do? What's happening? I was literally filling out an application on Indeed or one of these sites. And a friend of mine reached out to me that I haven't talked to in over 25 years, was like, how's art going? I'm like, that was fun. It was I rode the wave for, a good year and a half, but it's at a standstill and I have to think about something else. He's like, no, 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 no. You need to talk to Eddie Donaldson. Eddie Donaldson works with Shepard Fairey. He represents all these top artists. He's doing great things. He's doing huge shows and uh, Malibu, Love LA. It's a big show. He has like Dave Navarro's art and a lot of actors and David Arquette. And he's like, you have to work with him. I'm like, great, connect me. And so he put me on a group call with him. And he's like, hey, Eddie, I want you to meet my friend Beth. She's an artist. Can she be in your show? Da da da. He's like, no. I was like, oh, okay, great. I go, well, hey, you know what, Eddie? I understand. You have your people. It's COVID. It's a tough time. I would love to send you some stuff. So I sent him everything I had. I followed up. I was kind of the squeaky wheel. Like he has a lot of street artists and like graffiti. And then here I come. It's like Sweet Valley High. I'm like, hey. And he's like, I'm not sure. He's like, I'm not sure about this one. So he said, you know what? I like he's like, you're a hustler. He's like, I like your drive. He's like, I'll give you a 12 by 18, a small, piece. And I love LA. I'm like, I'm in it. So now I'm in the show with Shepard Fairey and Plastic Jesus, all of these artists that I really respect. I was like, wow, this is incredible. And so when I showed up to the show, I noticed at the check-in there was like a blank wall behind, and it was completely bare. So I told the gal that was checking everybody in. I said, you know what? Do you think I could put a couple pieces behind there? And she's like, sure. I don't see why not. So I went down. As I'm coming out of the elevator, I run into Eddie. He's like, what is going on here? And where are these pieces from? I go, oh, I just noticed that there was, a space on the wall just behind check-in. Totally understand if it's not okay. Just thought, like maybe we could just check it out. He's like, oh my gosh, you are a true hustler. He's like, bring him in.
Love it.
First piece to sell was one of my pieces. And he's like, I don't know who this girl is. He's like, but I'm rolling with her. And then he put me in the Malibu show and the at Tracy Park Gallery, and um, one of her I guess associates was like, "Oh, our show is full." He's like, we're gonna put in a Beth Bowen piece, and he's like, I'm not sure about that. Everything has already been curated. He said, she's with me. She's coming in the show. And so right before the show, Neil Diamond came in and did a first look, and he bought my piece. And
So
so
cool, Beth. I mean,
it's so
this
cool.
this is what I'm talking about when it comes to like resilience and perseverance, like not having the fear of someone saying no to you, just keep asking, keep asking. And what also keeps coming to mind is just like it doesn't matter if it's art or the pizza business or anything else, it's about people. It's about making
Yes.
connections with the right people. So
Yes.
you are an amazingly talented artist and your art speaks
Well,
for itself. But sometimes even the best of anything doesn't get noticed. Look at Michael Jordan. He was passed
yeah.
on. People have to earn
Yes.
their stripes sometimes and connect with the right people to get in the door. And it's just a
Definitely.
testament to not giving up and having the courage and being crafty enough to think to bring extra paintings to hang on that wall
Definitely.
behind the receptionist. It's just so awesome. I just want our listeners to really let this sink in, that if you're feeling like you're hitting a wall, don't give up. It's about just connecting connecting, get into the rooms, connect with the right people, and then get them to have your back and support you to keep moving forward.
And don't get in your own way. Like for me, it's just putting fear in the back seat. Because what is someone going to say? No. Okay, I've been through divorce. I've been on government support. My mom passed away. Like I've been through the hard, gut wrenching. I didn't want to get out of bed. So someone saying no is like, okay,
Yeah.
next. That doesn't hurt. Like it's fine. It's just go. Call. Someone will pick up.
Yeah.
Someone will answer. And that's what happens. And it's interesting. It's like I don't even think about it not working out. That's the thing. It's like I'm like, of course I'm going to do this. And with
Well,
that
and you,
mindset, it's
yep.
brought all these great opportunities to me. Like, do you want to do this? Do you want to do this? I'm doing a utility uh installation in Hermosa Beach, and it's like, can you paint on this utility box? Sure. Okay. And then from that, now I'm doing a mural in West Hollywood. I'm
Right.
going to be in the Fame Yard again. And I'm like, fantastic. I'm
Yeah, and
in.
it's about saying yes. I mean,
Yes.
here's the other thing. I think, a lot of times we don't know, like we're getting in our head too much about what we should or shouldn't be doing. And I
Right.
think you just have to constantly be putting yourself out there and saying yes to as many things as you can. There's a time for saying no, and when you know it's not the right fit for you
Right.
or it's going against your values or whatever. But when you are putting yourself out there as an artist or an entrepreneur and you're looking to do something, just keep putting yourself in the rooms and getting the opportunities, because those are the things that keep you growing and moving forward. And if you're saying no to things, you're putting a block up, right? So,
Definitely.
yeah,
And see the big picture. I'll
right.
never forget when Eddie called me about the World Cup. He said, okay, I have an opportunity for you to do a mural. It's big. Can you do it? Yes. Have you done something like this before? No. Yeah, I can. I can do it. I went from, no, I haven't. Don't worry about that. I can do this.
Right.
And it was 16 feet by 8. I had to incorporate a style from the first show that you were at, um, mixed in with every single team competing, every country, without it being the exact logo because we didn't have the rights to it, but it had to be an abstract version. When you saw it, it's like, oh, that's Brazil, that's the US, or that's, when you looked at it, you could tell. It was so terrifying. It was so hard, but I'm so glad I did it. It's so rewarding. And then from that, I have an opportunity with the Olympics that's coming. So I wouldn't have had that if I didn't have that experience.
And it's this not being afraid to fail, putting
Exactly.
yourself out there and saying, yes, I can do it. And then I'll figure it out. I had to do that
Yes.
too. It's like, you kind of have to put yourself out there and just go and do it and then learn
Yes.
from your mistakes and keep going, because you're never going to do. I mean, there's a quote, and I can't repeat it right now because I'm going to butcher it, but there's a quote that basically says, if you're not trying, then you're failing, and that's the only way you can actually fail. But if you're
Exactly.
afraid of failure, it's holding you back from success. So I just love that you put yourself out there in everything that you do. You go for it big. I mean, what was the project you did for the Kentucky Derby?
Oh, yes. I did a piece that was at Churchill Downs, and then it was at the Galt House. It's actually, I think, still on display there. But yeah, it was awesome. It was so
You
cool to
you've
be
just
at the
done
150th anniversary of the Kentucky Derby.
You have
Yeah.
done some incredible work, Beth, and you should be so
Thank you.
proud. And I just want all of our listeners to know that no matter what you are going through right now, Beth, was going through a divorce very young. What were you, 20 something years old when you got a divorce?
I
Over
was no,
30?
I was 34 when I got
Okay.
divorced, but I was 23 when I was married.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
right.
got married.
Okay. So super young and with no career to speak of,
No.
on your own, raising 4 kids, living on food stamps, to now doing this incredible work all over the world. You
It's
travel all
awesome.
over the world.
Yes.
You're such an inspiration to so many women. And I know that speaking to women and kind of empowering women in this industry is important to you, that you've kind of
Yes.
taken that on as a new initiative for yourself. Yeah.
Definitely. And to tell people the time is now. The time is now. It's not like I'll do it late, I'll do it. Go for it.
Yeah.
Go for it. If it speaks to your heart, it's the right answer. Like
Right.
that's really what resonated with me. It's like I just can't believe I'm getting paid to do this. This is
Yeah.
so cool. I love it.
I have to ask everyone this question because
Hmm.
I am a big believer that a lot of the gifts that we are instilled with, that are given to us, are given when we're born, by
Hmm.
our creator. I'm a big believer that, who I am innately, I was from the beginning of my life. And even at 2 and 3 years old, like I've told stories on my podcast about me dancing in front of the television,
I
when
love
the
it.
evening news came on, because I was obsessed with this female news anchor and thought that was the coolest thing ever. And turns out that I went to school for broadcast journalism. So I
Love
just
it.
feel like that we're drawn to certain things in life, but then
Hmm.
over time, our experiences, our
Hmm.
family, the people who influence us, life gets
Hmm.
in the way and kind of
Definitely.
keeps us from pursuing that version of ourselves. And I'm
I agree.
curious, like, do you feel like you always knew that deep down you were an artist, or were you drawn to that as a child?
Yes, actually, I did a lot of different, I guess, arts and crafts. And I do you remember, like in the back of magazines, it was like a turtle, it's like draw me, but it was like bigger. I could
Yeah.
always do that. I could always see things and make them bigger. My kids went to Cornerstone Elementary, my older two, and I'll never forget Mrs. Hunter's class, second grade. She's like, "We're studying penguins. Can you draw a penguin?" And so I would draw the emperor penguin, and I would do all these random different penguins. She's like, okay, I had to go laminate everything you made because I'm going to use those every year.
Oh,
And, it's like a cityscape, or can you draw the Statue of Liberty? Sure, I could do all these things. I mean, yeah, it was in there. I never thought I would be an artist. Like if you were to tell me 7 years ago, hey, Beth, I had this vision, you're to go into art, I'd be like, you're on drugs. Like
yeah.
it never crossed my mind. Like
Yeah.
it never crossed my mind that this could be something that not only would I do that would make me so happy, but it could also be a career. Um, and it's just we're so fortunate to live where we live, and to be in America with these opportunities. I mean, anyone can do anything. That's what's so beautiful about this country. I
Yes.
mean, I watched YouTube tutorials, and I had a piece at the Louvre. Like, I never took an art class ever. So it's just anything is possible. And I just feel like if I didn't take these opportunities and really, execute and go for it, it's like a slap in the face to all these. I don't know how to say it. Like we can edit that out. But it's like, how do I? No, but it's like I have all these opportunities, and like, who am I not to take advantage of it? Like we're so fortunate,
I
you
couldn't
know.
agree with you more. So well said. Let me say,
No.
I got to this point in my life as well where it was like, a hammer hit me over the head. Like, this is what you're supposed to be doing. And I felt like if I dismissed that I was dismissing what my purpose in life was, and that I
Yes.
wasn't listening to my creator, my intuition, my higher power, to
Right.
which was telling me you need to be doing this. And I feel like once you get to that point in life, it's like, oh my gosh, I just got to keep going. I can't stop. It's almost like an
Yeah.
addiction. I feel like I wake
Yeah.
up every day going, okay, how am I moving my business forward? What's happening? How am I connecting? How am I impacting? How am I growing? How am I helping others grow? So I have to be doing that every single day now.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny for me to look back at a time in my life where I wasn't doing that and how unfulfilled I felt. So
Hmm.
for me, it's really reaching out to the people who may still be thinking, I know there's something more I should be doing, but I just don't know what it is, and helping them figure out what that is. And so I asked that question to every single one of my guests because I kind of want to know if there was some sort of inclination, not so much about being an artist, but just at what you loved to do. You know, you were always creative. You were, you know, and your mom was a big inspiration to you. And maybe when your mom passed
Definitely.
away, that was something that was kind of like a nudge, like you don't give up on you.
Definitely not. And I had nothing to lose, and we all have nothing to lose. We don't. I mean, once we get past the the negative self-talk or our fears and you just go for it, that's really when the magic happens. And I think, yeah, I guess I owe it to the adversity I went through. I don't know if I would have been so bold had everything gone perfectly in my life.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah,
I don't
usually it
know.
takes a failure or some sort of not necessarily tragedy, but you know, a
Yeah.
major challenge for you
Yes.
to push yourself through and get on the other side and say, "Oh, I can get through that, and I can get to the
Yes.
next thing and to the next thing," and that's what builds resilience
And
with
it
your
could
career.
be as simple as someone just believing in you or saying, "Hey, I really like that." Oh, you do? Well, maybe someone else might like that. And somebody else or somebody else. It's like if I'm, connecting, if my art's resonating with you, it might resonate with somebody else.
I love that. So beautiful,
Yeah.
Beth. And you're so connected with others when it comes to your art and hoping that it speaks to them in a way that's special. So I have to ask before
Yes.
we wrap up, what's next for you? What's on the horizon?
Oh, there's so many exciting things. So the piece that was at the Louvre, that's on its way back as we speak. Home Goods TJ Maxx is doing a limited edition run with that. So that's exciting. We just finished printing in China on that one. So that will be distributed just the beginning of the year. I have a couple really exciting opportunities in New York. And that, if this comes to fruition, I want you to come with me because I want you to be a
I'll
part
be
of
there,
this.
girl. I'm going to be there no matter what. I know what opportunity you're talking about, and
Yes.
it's going to be amazing. And we're gonna, whenever it is next year, whatever time it is, we're gonna have you back on the show, and we're gonna talk all about how this amazing project that you've been working on came to
Yes.
fruition. It's going to be an incredible, just story of success, and probably one, not the pinnacle, but a huge pinnacle
Yes.
to your career.
Yes.
So I'm so excited to share that with you, and I will absolutely be there. So
Awesome.
Beth, so we're gonna
Yes.
do a couple things. We're gonna put the link in the show notes on where to buy your art at
Okay.
Home Goods. Any links for any other shops? How else can our listeners find
Instagram.
you?
Instagram, Beth Bowen Art. I am Beth Bowen, bethbowen.com. And yeah, look for my pieces at Home Good TJ Maxx.
Yay. Okay. We're gonna share all that good info so that everybody can find you and follow you and support you on your journey. And I just want to say this is Entrepreneurship Day, National Entrepreneurship Day. And I loved
Yay.
having you on for National Entrepreneurship because we're both, aspiring entrepreneurs, are entrepreneurs, and just loving our journeys. And I love sharing it all with you and getting to connect with you and tell your story. So this has been
Oh,
amazing.
thank
Thank you
you.
for being
Thank
here,
you
Beth.
so much for having me.
Of course.
Appreciate
We'll,
it.
we'll
Thank
do it
you.
again soon. Thank you again for listening to Where Passion Meets Purpose. If you're enjoying this show, please subscribe and download it so you don't miss an episode every single week. And if you think you have a friend who might benefit from listening, please share it with them as well. If you'd like to contact me, you can always reach me through email on my website at jenmentasana.com and my social media, Jen_Mentasana. And you can DM me there and I'll always respond and we can connect about topics on the show or anything else you'd like to discuss. Thanks again for tuning in.